Okay, in the last lecture we have seen that how to create a test sheet, and we also discussed one scenario of a login functionality, right? So moving forward to learn more concepts of test case design, we have selected the login functionality scenario, right? So in this lecture you are going to learn how to create attributes, what is the attribute, how you can identify the attributes for your scenarios, and what are the properties under the attributes you have, and how you can copy or create the attributes from the test sheets. So these all we are going to see in this lecture. Okay, so what is the attributes? So attributes are various characteristics of your application or a representation of your business objects, and you can use this attribute to map your business object that are necessary for your test cases. Okay, so we have a scenario, right? We have a scenario of login functionality. So under this we are providing the email ID and password. Okay, so these providing the email ID and password is a business object for my login functionality. So I'll choose these two business objects as an attribute, and I'll create the business objects under the test case design under my test sheet for this scenario. Okay, okay, so this is how you identify it, right? If let's suppose you have a functionality of sending the mail, right? So you are entering the email ID and whom to send the mail, and you are entering the body of a mail. So this email ID and the body is known as a business objects, business objects of your requirement, and you can create the attributes for those objects, right? So this is what the attribute means. So this is why you can use this attribute to map your business objects that you'll going to use in your test case, and you can provide the test data from test case design or test sheets directly. So this is why this approach is known as a data oriented approach. You can create the attribute directly under the test sheet or the classes, and you can also create the sub attributes directly under the attributes or instances. Okay, and these classes and instances we'll see in the next lecture. Okay, and if I'll give you some more practical examples of attribute, if you have understanding of Java, there we have a class and objects, right? So there are multiple objects you can have for one classes, right? So attributes is like class, and your objects are known as are like instances in Tosca. Okay, and one more practical life example is if you have a car brand. So the car brand is your attributes, the car brand business objects is your attribute, and the different flavors of a car brand like Honda, Hyundai, Skoda, Audi, BMW, these all are going to be your instances, right? So this is the I guess this is the best example to understand what is the meaning of attributes and instances in Tosca. Okay, so let's see how you can create the attributes. Okay, so we have identified two attributes, the email ID and password, right? So let's jump to this test case design section. Under the test case design section, till the last lecture we have created this sheet, TCD login functionality, right? Just right click on this test sheet and create and select this red square. This red square is a create attribute, right? So you have you just created the attribute. Let's rename it. I'm just selected it. I'm just renaming it to the email. Let's create the second attribute with the same process. Right click, select the red square and change its name. So this is how I just created two attributes, right? And the more about these attributes, if you select this email, on the right side panel you have a properties open, right? If you didn't have seen this property, there is an arrow that is pointing to the left side. Just click on this, you are going to see this property page. Okay, for this attribute, this is your property. This attribute is now having an attribute type of physical, right? But this is the physical, that means this is what is present on your UI. You can see it, you can provide the values under it, right? But there is one more attribute type you can have, that is the logical one. If let's suppose your attribute is having one more attribute under it, let's suppose I have my email attribute is having two attributes, that is the email and the username. So while logging, you have to provide the email and username, right? So in that case, these two sub attributes are having the physical attribute type, but the attribute that is the parent of this sub attributes, this will be going to have a attribute type of logical. So you easily identified this is the logical structure of attribute, right? And yeah, and also next topic we can see, we will have a toggle business relevance in for the attributes. So what is this toggle business relevance, right? If let's suppose my login functionality is having the attributes that is to provide a username who is going to execute this test case, right? So this providing the username while executing your test case, this is not going to have your business relevance, right? This is just we have added for our identification process, right? So this is not going to have any business relevant. So this username we have entered because who is going to execute in your project, in your team, he just enter his name or her name, and you can see this test case is executed by this person, right? So in that case, that is not having the business relevance. You can change its color, and this color is going to be a light red, and this business relevance no, you can provide to an attributes or sub attributes as well, right? If it has a business relevant like the email ID and password, so it is going to be an dark red, right? You can keep it to a dark red, that is having the business relevance, yes. And apart from these two, we also have one more business relevant property, and this is the result. So this business relevant is equal to result. This is we use for our verification identification, right? So let's suppose in precondition, in post condition, you are validating the price, right? Or you are validating the UI from which user you have logged to this application, right? So after the login, you are going to see the user email ID on UI. So you can validate whether I have login with the email ID I have provided, or I have login with some other person's email ID. Although I have provided my email ID, but it is showing on UI the different person's email ID. So you can validate this under this attribute, and you can change its color to green. Again, you can also apply this one to your sub attributes and attributes as well. If I'll quickly show you how you can do it, let's suppose in a precondition we have a attribute that is known as a user, right? So these user we have considered just to check who run these test cases, right? Okay, and in a process we have this email and password business relevance, yes, attributes. And in a post condition we have the third type of attribute, that is the verification attribute. So let's rename it to verify email. So these four attributes we are having, right? So this the first one is having business relevance no, I can change its color. So guys, this is for the identification process, so it will be easy to visualize which is having business relevance, which is not having the business relevance for your requirement, right? So let's change it to business relevance no. The three ways you can do it. The first one is on the top menu bar under the test case design. There is a toggle business relevance you have. You can change its color from here also, right? Or you can also just right click over there and click the toggle business relevance. From here also you can do it, right? If you click again and again, it will toggle to the next type of attribute. right? And the third way you can also do it from the right panel, where the property is there. Under the property you have a business relevant option. So under the business relevance option you can select yes, no, or result as per your need. So this user, this is having the business relevance no, I'll choose no, right? Click and see your color is changed. So this light red, that means this is having the business relevance no. So this email ID and password, these are by default business relevance yes. So I'll not, and also for my requirement this is having the business relevance yes. So I'll keep it like that in a dark red. Okay. So the last attribute, that is the verify email. Currently it is having the business relevant yes. So let's change it to result. Okay, I have changed it to result, and it will have its color as a green, that is the verification attribute. So this color coding will give you an easy identification which kind of attributes you have used and what its purpose under your test sheet. Because when you create a big test case design sheet, then you are going to have multiple attributes and all. So this is for our ease, right? If I'll show you the test sheet I have created, this one, this test sheet is a very big test sheet, right? So under it you can easily identify, okay, these attributes, these sub attributes are having the business relevance, these attributes are not having a business relevance, so it is in a verification attribute. So here we are validating the price, right? So this is how you can identify it easily. Okay. And also under the attribute section you can create the binary attributes also. So these binary attributes are mainly you can create when you have a binary when you are providing the binary values like the true and false for any of your attributes. For example, if we have a option where we are selecting is the vehicle is bought from this country or outside, you can choose this create binary attributes. You can select the true or false over there, and this is how you can create, and this is why we need the create binary attributes. Or also you can create by your own, just right click and create the attributes for that. Okay, this is we do in under the instance section, right? And in attributes you can also create the attributes from the other test sheets, but in that case that test sheet is going to be an attributes, and under that test sheets the attributes you have, it is going to be the sub attributes for your test sheet. Like see, just see this example where we have a test sheet 1 and test sheet 2, right? We are going to use this test sheet 2 thing in the test sheet 1. Just select this test sheet 2 and drop it to test sheet 1, right? So by doing this you can see under the test sheet you will have an attribute the test sheet 2. So this test sheet 2 is going to be an attribute for the test sheet 1, and this and the first attribute of test sheet 2 is a phone number. When you move in a test sheet to 1, it is going to be a sub attribute for your test sheet 2. So this is we normally do when you have multiple test sheets under your project, and you wanted to use this same attribute structure from the other test sheets to your test sheet, right? So this is where we can do it, right? And if I'll show you in practical way also, if let's suppose this login user 1, I have just added one more attribute, that is verify email, right? So if you do the same thing, if you select this, drag and drop over here, you can easily see this login 1 user is going to be an attribute, and the first attributes of login user 1 is going to be a sub attribute of this login user. So this is how you can do, right? Okay, so this is how you can create attributes, and this is this is also you can identify which attributes is having which meaning. Okay, so this is this is all we have for the attribute section. In the next lecture I'll explain how you can create the instances for these attributes, right? Okay, see you in the next lecture. Thank you.